Hello everyone and welcome to a new book haul video. I'm going to show you all the books that I bought in April and in May. There's a lot of books, and before you think I'm completely crazy, which is something that I'm trying to convince myself every day that I'm not, keep in mind that the majority of these books are used books that I buy from library sales, so they cost me from like 50 cents to maybe $1. There's quite a lot of books here. There's a few nonfiction books, there's some horror books, some literary fiction, there's a graphic novel. So I'm just going to go right in and show you guys what I got. The first one I'll show you is a graphic novel, and it is The Sculpture by Scott McCloud. This one I bought from Book Outlet. I think they still have some there. And it's so exciting because I've been using Book Outlet for a while, but they haven't had graphic novels. But they just started getting them, and it makes a world of a difference. This one is $30 in stores and I bought it for $10, and it's brand new. It doesn't even come with like a mark on it like it usually does from Book Outlet. And the inside of the dust jacket is absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. I don't actually know much about this graphic novel. I've seen it in Barnes & Noble many times, and I've looked into it, and I've just absolutely loved the art of it, which is why I wanted to buy it. On the back it says, a spellbinding urban fable about a childhood wish, a deal with death, the price of art, the value of life, and a desperate love. So it sounds really intriguing. Next up, let me show you the nonfiction books that I got. The first one is The Long Hard Road Out of Hell by Marilyn Manson, writing it with Neil Strauss. This is Marilyn Manson's biography. I actually listened quite a lot to Marilyn Manson when I was in high school. I saw him in concert, and when I read his interviews or see clips with him, he actually seems like a very cultured person and he knows what he's talking about. So I'm quite interested to read this. The next one, also from Book Outlet, is The Road to Whatever, Middle Class Culture and the Crisis of Adolescence by Elliot Curry. So it's about the crisis of adolescence in the United States. So I think all the case studies and everything are fairly just relevant to the United States. And within the same theme, I also bought American Girls, Social Media, and the Secret Lives of Teenagers by Nancy Jo Sales. Next up, let me show you guys the literary fiction that I got. The first one is A Native Speaker by Chang-Ri Lee. I know the author of this book is American Korean, and I believe that the book follows an American Korean immigrant. It seems very interesting, and I've heard of this book before. I also own another book by this author, but I have never read it. Next up, I got The Lotus and the Storm, a novel by Lan Chow. This is a Vietnamese American novel. I'm not exactly sure what it's about or when it takes place, but I do buy a lot of Asian fiction. I am very fascinated with Asia and a lot of the Asian countries, so I do buy a lot of these books just based on the fact that they are set in Asian countries or that the authors are Asian, and I just go on the premise that I'm gonna like it. So I kind of just assume that I'm gonna find it interesting because of that. I'll let you guys know what I think once I read it. The next few books are books that I've either seen the movie adaptations of or I've heard really good things about. The first one is Under the Tuscan Sun at Home in Italy by Frances Mays. This one I've seen the movie adaptation of. I'm not a huge romance fan. I don't really watch a lot of romance movies, but for some reason the adaptation of this book was just gorgeous. I loved it so much. Maybe it was the fact that it was set in Italy and it was just so full of life and so vivid, and I really like Diane Lane. I think it was really good, and I'm gonna give the novel a go because it's been a long time since I saw the movie, so it's not all that clear in my head. And I also think that it has a lot of recipes, like Italian food recipes, so that's gonna be really cool. Next one, I also saw its movie adaptation and really liked it, and it is The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbery. I believe this is a French novel. I think the movie adaptation was French. And it is about a little girl who is from a very rich family. Her parents ignore her a lot. She's not very well taken care of. I mean, physically she is, but her parents don't really talk to her. And she becomes friends with the gatekeeper from the apartment building where she lives. I really liked the movie, and I think the book's gonna be really cute too. The last one that I saw, it's a movie adaptation of, I still can't believe I bought the book. I don't know if I'm actually going to ever read this because the movie adaptation of it really broke my heart, but in case I ever decide to, I bought Bastard Out of Carolina by Dorothy Allison. The movie adaptation of this portrays one of the worst cases of child abuse that I've ever seen on the screen. It follows a girl whose mother marries or lives with this man who is very abusive towards her and her sister. I can't remember all the details, but I do remember that he was very abusive towards her and her sibling, but particularly towards her. And what's really heartbreaking is that the mother just decides to look away from the abuse just because she wants to be married to this man. I can't believe I actually bought this book. Maybe I'll decide to read it one day. Next book was quite hyped on BookTube, if I remember correctly, lately or like last year. It is The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. I've heard this name many times. I don't know what it's about, but I think the author is South American, but I have no clue what it is about. The last literary fiction book is The Children Act by Ian McEwan. The premise of this book is very interesting to me. It is about a 17-year-old boy who is sick. He has this illness that he needs to receive treatment for, but because of his religious beliefs, he declines the treatment. The court judge wants to rule out his decision because he's a minor and make it for the state to make his decision for him. So I think the book just focuses on the dilemma between whether you should let people decide according to their faith when it comes to these kind of life and death situations. I think this is going to be very interesting. I have never read anything by McEwan before, so I don't know how I feel about the writing style, but I do think the premise is really interesting. The next books I have are all horror books. I got The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I read her debut novel 2 months ago and I enjoyed it. It was nothing to blow my mind, but it was a fun book to read. I don't really want to know too much about the plot since it is a horror thriller book, so I kind of want to go into it blind. But I've heard a lot of people mention this on BookTube lately, like a lot of horror fans as well, so I'm really excited to get to it. Next, 2 books I got from Book Outlet, and I was a little disappointed when they arrived because of their cover. The first book is Nosferatu by Joe Hill. This is in perfect condition, but when I ordered it, I ordered the Christmas edition, the one that had the little gingerbread man and everything on the cover, and I was really frustrated when this came, but whatever. I still haven't read anything by Joe Hill yet, except for his graphic novel, The Lock and Key. I have Horns as well, I mentioned it in my other book haul, and I'm hoping to get to both of them this year. Next up I have I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, which on the website when I ordered it did not feature this horrible star looking thing that says now a major motion picture starring Will Smith. It's not even a sticker, you can't take it off. It's so frustrating. Anyway, I bought this because I read Hill House and I really enjoyed it, and I've heard this is a really good novel of his also. I've never seen the movie adaptation. From what I know, it's a vampire book and like also like a kind of apocalypse end of the world book. I'm not exactly sure. The next batch of books, the last ones of this video, are Stephen King first editions, which I just happened to find going around. 6 of them I bought from a swap shop. I just happened to find the one guy there who had crates of Stephen King books because he was just this diehard Stephen King fan, and I bought 6 of books from there and one I found in a used bookstore. I'm not going to go into a lot of details on what each book is about. Some of them I don't even know myself, but I am collecting all the Stephen King first editions. So the first one is Night Shift, a collection of short stories. This is, I think, his first short story collection. Next up I have Firestarter, which I've seen the movie adaptation of, and it's just about a little girl who has pyrokinesis, so the power to put things on fire. Dreamcatcher, which is huge. The books are starting to get thicker, and I already own this in Romanian. I have it in my parents' house in Romania, but probably not going to carry the huge Stephen King books on the airplane. I'm just buying them here because they're that cheap. From A Break 8, which I heard is one of his worst novels, but nevertheless. Lissy's Story, which has the most absolute gorgeous cover. Has a little shovel cut out, and on the inside it is so gorgeous. I love the floral theme, and it's so colorful, and I just love how colorful it is. Duma Key, which I have absolutely no idea what it's about, but I know it's one of his more recent ones. And Just After Sunset, which is another short story collection of his. So these are all the books that I bought in April and in May. Let me know down below if you've read any of them and what you thought, or you're planning to read them, and I will see you back soon with another video. Have a really great day. Bye.